And the reason, a big reason is why I'm like this is because I saw the way that men dealt with my mother. That's right. So no nigga kept it real with my mama. So how could I be out here seeing that she went through all of this bullshit and then I go out here and do the same thing to somebody else? Mama. The part for me that I don't understand is that how women, you know, in certain aspects act like they don't understand a man lying when they lie better than we ever could.
Absolutely.
The craziest part is I'll never be able to lie to you in the way that you lie to yourself. So, you know.
You think women lie better than men, Jess?
Absolutely. I've said that. I've lied plenty of times, never got caught.
And you never will. And they never will because of they never will. They never will. And this is the good part about being who I am. When you tell the truth to a woman, they'll tell the truth to you. Mind you, I'm able to have a conversation with her in a manner that most men probably can't because they scared that if they say something that's going to fuck their chance up of getting some pussy. I'm not worried about that. So now we can have a dialogue where she giving me game from a perspective that most men don't get because she know I ain't got no dog in the fight.
Right.
So you get to see how good they lie. Like women lie on a different level because they know us better than we know ourselves emotionally. So they got a vantage point into you as a man to where they know how to play. Women deal off a man's ego where she'll build it all the way up to the sky. Just so whenever you act like you ain't got no sense, get over here, nigga.
Take it down.
Bring it on down because now I'm in control of how you see me. And niggas be so worried about the bullshit they get ready running, dude. You ain't even looking at this woman and how she operate and what she got going on and the things that she's saying. So they get away with it. The reason why men are called dogs more is because we get caught. And I had these conversations all the time. This is not something that I just talk about frivolously. Like, this is my life. I live like this. But I also hope that women can understand that there are men out here who stand on principle and protocol and have no desire to get whatever it is you trying to give that's of value to you. Like, I'm me regardless of whether you like me or not. I can care less who likes me. I know who love me, and that's all that matter. So I'm not, you know, being malicious in my sentiment. This is really who I am, and I feel like being honest is me giving you a choice to know what you're about to be dedicating your time to, because you can't get none of that back. That's right. Time is the most valuable asset we have. So if I take your time away from you pretending to be a nigga that I'm not, then you gonna hate me for it. But you can respect me if I tell you the truth in the beginning. It might hurt you in the beginning. You might not like me, but down the line, once you get to running into them niggas full of shit, you're gonna look back and be like, well, I did know one motherfucker who kept it real with me, you know what I mean? And that's a value, because like you said, I got a daughter, and I understand the sins of the father. I can't put that energy out into the world knowing my daughter Gray go out here and be fucking around with niggas, because I got to teach her how to cheat in that regard. I got to tell her the things that look for, and if I'm her father out here doing things to women, that I can't think that that's not going to affect my baby. Right. And the reason, a big reason is why I'm like this is because I saw the way that men dealt with my mother. Right. So no nigga kept it real with my mama. So how could I be out here seeing that she went through all of this bullshit and then I go out here and do the same thing to somebody else, mama?
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. First, I want to say, you know, Chico Bean has every right to his preferences. He has every right to feel what he feels and do what he does. I'm not here to tell this man what he should or shouldn't do, especially if he's not a man of God or someone who's professing to be a Christian, which I don't believe he is. I want to say this next section of the conversation is to apply logic. To anyone that's a Christian that's leaning on what he's saying here and saying, hey, that sounds about right. You know, that's something I can do as well. If that's you, I want to have this conversation with you. Chico Bean's I think a smooth talk, and I think he says things very well. I think he, you know, is real abreast with exactly what he feels and exactly what he has brought his life to be at this point. Like, he completely is sold in his convictions, and that's completely fine on my end. I just have a lot of questions. And this is not the first time that he's gone on Breakfast Club to say the things that he said. And I think he throws his mom in there wrongfully, if I might say. Let's talk about this. The previous time that he came on the Breakfast Club, he said this: I feel like if someone would have gave Wanda, his mother, the opportunity, she would have been a hell of a soldier for somebody who was worth it. It would have made our lives easier, meaning him and his siblings. It would have made their lives easier. Now, to me, ladies and gentlemen, when he says that, it sounds like he's blaming his mother for his personal relationship issues or choices. Sounds like he is saying, because of my mama's issues, because of the relationship that she had, it caused me to be in this predicament that I'm in. That led me to the choices that I now have. Now, he's speaking about this as This is an innate fact about this mother. Like, she had no choice in the matter other than to deal with the man that she dealt with. Did his mother not have a choice in dating at all? Could she have just waited until the children were grown? I'm sorry, to actually date someone or to get married? Being that she had multiple children, I'm not saying I know the exact situation, but being that she had multiple children and she, you know, more than likely had them with different baby fathers, at some point, after hitting your head on the wall multiple times, don't anyone say, I need to choose a different path? Does it not resonate with you that maybe I'm the common denominator? Maybe it's my choices that I'm making that's leading me to these bad results. So instead of blaming those men for what you had to see, Mr. Bean or Chico, how about now blame your mother? Why does mama always get to skate in the Black community? Why does mama always get to do the damage and skate? That's why I'm pointing out what I pointed out in this video. The conversation between him and Jess earlier is a living embodiment of what the Black community is. Black women are not victims in the Black community. They may be a victim of circumstance, but more often than not, they are choosing their own paths. But they never have to feel the brunt of the results of their choices. They can just skate on by, still being lauded, still being celebrated, still being exalted, and never actually being told the truth. That's why we have multiple generations of the same dynamic, the same situations. Mr. Bean and Chico is not saying something that's exclusive to him. This is something that happens in almost every household in our hoods. The next thing he said on that same podcast in the same episode before with the Breakfast Club, he said, I'm going to be honest with you from the jump. My goal and mantra is no victims, only volunteers. That's my point. He sees his mother as a victim. He sees his mother as she had no choice in the matter, that she was held captive basically by the man that she chose to be with. You say you want volunteers, Chico, but the very first volunteer that you ever met was your mother, Wanda. She was a volunteer in each of those situations. She chose those men. She decided to be with each of those men, and she yielded the results that she received. She put you guys in that situation. Now, when you became an adult, you had a crossroad. There was a path you had to go across to say, am I going to do the same thing that I saw Wanda do? Am I going to do the same thing I saw those men do? Or am I going to start a nuclear family and give my family, give my children something I never had? I believe you actually did a third option. You actually created a new version of a toxic relationship and toxic relationship patterns that will more than likely lead your children, and you talked about your daughter here, this will lead her to not only having to face what you went through and the brunt of everything you are doing through your toxic relationship patterns, but also the things that Wanda went through, because you never healed from what Wanda went through. You basically put a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound. You're trying to find a cure to something that takes deep healing. You found a temporary cure, and this is all from a false premise. You completely built this way of life for yourself based on a false premise. Your mother was never a victim. She made choices and decisions that led to you guys being victims. You are a victim of seeing relationship trauma. I call it mama trauma over here. You saw your mama's trauma and you took it on for your own. You created a dynamic that will lead your daughter to going through the same thing. It's so funny that you're saying that I got to teach my daughter how to cheat. Like, what are we talking about? What you're teaching your daughter is how to accept a piece of a man. What you're teaching your daughter, because words don't even matter. It's about your actions. What you're teaching your daughter is how to not be fully loved by a man. That's 100% what you're teaching. And we'll see how this plays out, because he shows his daughter pretty frequently online. I would love to see how this plays out, and I would love that if she's able to overcome this and actually get the healing that you should have got a long time ago. Chico is reacting based on hatred. He's harboring hatred inside of him. And I've said this many times on the channel. What we hate, we recreate. We recreate the situation that we hate. If we're harboring hatred, we're going to reproduce that in our situations, in our dynamics, in our families. We're going to reproduce that. But when we love, we rise above. I know that may be corny for some people, but when we love, we rise above. We go above whatever our circumstances was when we introduce love into our heart. And the enemy doesn't want us to focus on forgiveness. He doesn't want us to focus on love because he knows that once we are introduced to authentic love and authentic forgiveness, that will lead us to being introduced to authentic peace. Not only peace for us, but peace for our loved ones and our family. And I want to ask anyone who's watching this, do you believe Chico has internal peace with the dynamic and the relationship that he has created for himself? If we want our relationship, our marriage, our children, our families to function properly, we must do things God's way. Attempting to operate a system outside of how the Creator has designed it will lead to malfunction. If you look at the Black community, because these are two Black people, but you look at America as a whole right now regarding family, how healthy are we? How truly are we actually functioning? Or are we malfunctioning as we speak? I believe we are severely malfunctioning, and the family dynamic is what's hurting the most. If you want to see a better America, want to see a better community, want to see a better city, state, whatever, you put everything you have into building a powerful nuclear family. That's the answer. That's completely the answer. I want to thank everybody for joining me today. Hope this was a help to someone. Don't recreate this stuff. Show love, get healing, get true fulfillment. Love you guys. Take care.
Let's go.